Did y'all finish this? This was such an amazing series. Oh my God. Like, I knew I would like it because I love Bridgerton, but this, Queen Charlotte, Shonda did the damn thing with that. Let's talk about it. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. I break down TV shows, one recap at a time. If you enjoy that type of content, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hop in the comment section. A lot happened in these 6 episodes. I'm not going to be able to talk about everything, so let's talk about it down in the comments below. All right, so Queen Charlotte, y'all. So Queen Charlotte is just another addition, spinoff in the Bridgerton world that we have all come to love. So I have heard a lot of people wondering, can they jump in and watch this series? Do they have to watch seasons 1 and 2? Admittedly, I have only seen season 1. I forgot something was going on when season 2 came out. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I forgot about it. It slipped my mind. But you know what? I wasn't lost. And I think I wasn't lost because I knew the major players from season 1, so I had a bit of an understanding. But honestly and truly, I think that you can watch this without watching the first 2 seasons. I do. But let's talk about it, y'all. So there are 2 different things that are going on in this series. So we have the origin story of Queen Charlotte, which is young Charlotte, which we're going to talk about a lot in depth. But I want to talk about everything that's going on with the major 3, the big 3 first that I have on screen. So we have Lady Danbury, Queen Charlotte, and then is she still Viscountess Violet Bridgerton? Okay, so and the present day Bridgerton, which is where these ladies are set. We are seeing that the Queen has had a total of 13 still living children with King George III at that. So the issue is that none of her kids have legitimate heirs. So her sons have, well, here's the thing. She has 50 grandchildren, right? From her sons. They've been out doing it. Okay, talk about soy and the royal oats. Okay, they have been out doing it, but there are bastard children. So because none of her sons are married, none of her daughters are married either, aside from one, she doesn't have a legitimate heir to the throne. Now, King George IV, who is the oldest, we see that when the series starts off in this part of the series, this version, this present day, we'll call it. The Queen they're coming up to her house. They're knocking on the door. They're telling her there's an emergency. She thinks the king has passed away, and they're like, no. Come to find out, her oldest son, Prince Richard IV, his wife died during childbirth. So because of that, now there is no legitimate heir to the throne. You know, the king, he's sick. So they're worried about the succession of their line. So the way that her son was weeping, and she was like, sorrows, prayers. I said, you don't even care. You don't care. You're just mad that this line might die off soon. And we know that that's the case. That's how they thought. I mean, that's probably how they still think now, but that is very, very true with how they thought about things back in that day. And then we have, that's really the biggest thing with her. She wants these kids get married off. Her daughters are all past their prime. We don't get their ages, but they're past their prime. She does have one daughter who is married, but she has not been able to produce an heir. So throughout this older part, with we'll call it more present day, with Queen Charlotte, that is her focus. Getting her kids married off, and to produce a legitimate heir. Every time we see her, she fussing at one of them kids. They don't want to have to do it. The girls clearly don't want to be married off. Some of them are saying that, we're trying, but it just hasn't happened. The sons, everybody's on this, I want to do what I want to do type stuff. My happiness should matter. What you want is not what we want. And that's, basically that's what it is. Bunch of little spoiled kids. All y'all got to do and I'm saying this as a joke, facetiously, but all y'all gotta do is go ahead, get married, and start having some kids. Like, y'all don't have to work. You can still do whatever you want to. We just need one heir. So that's what she is saying. For Lady Danbury's part, her and Violet, they have this friendship that has been blossoming. And basically, in a nutshell, Lady Danbury was messing with Violet's father back in the day, and Violet figures it out. But Violet, who, she lost her husband Edmund in season 1, she is, she said her garden is in bloom again, all right? She said she want to get her Stella got her groove back. So she's kind of conflicted with that between, do I keep honoring my husband? I've only ever been with him. That was her one, like, her and Edmund were truly, truly in love. So she's wondering, how does she go forward? Like, is it wrong for her to, have these inhibitions now? Is it wrong for her to want to, get her back cracked real quick? So that's what she's going through. Lady Danbury is really telling her, look, we have all been there before. I have loved, I have lost, I've had desires, I've had wants. My garden too was in bloom after my husband passed away. You have to do what is best for you. You have to live. So Lady Danbury kind of tells her, because Violet is kind of, she's soaking over the loss of her husband. She's still, that was her love. So she is still very much caught up in the, damn, my dude gone for real, for real. And Lady Danbury is just reminding her, like, you're fortunate enough to have found that one true great love. So, like, now that you have had that, don't stew in your own sorrow. Start to live your life and do what's best. Your kids are all grown. You know what I mean? For the most part, a couple of them kids are still young. But for the most part, her kids are of age. I think they'll be coming out within like the next 2 or 3 years. You're going to have to do something as you start to marry off your troop. You're going to have to do something. It was funny because the Queen Charlotte was like, so Violet, you have had a bunch of kids. You have had 2 marriages in 2 years. What was your secret? She was like, they were in love. You know what I mean? She was like, but Violet got a whole bunch of kids. Violet said, I got 4. 4, don't do that. And I'm wondering if that 4 includes the Duke, because she ended up raising him as her own. So I wonder if that 4 includes the Duke. But Violet said, don't do that. On top of that, my kids are all spread around. Ain't nobody here. So they ain't got nothing to do with me. So that's what's going on in the older part, right, with them. So if I missed anything, put it down in the comment section. We can talk about it. Let's talk about what we want to get into the kids. All right. So let's talk about the casting. So at the top here, we have the Queen and then young Charlotte. Impeccable casting. The girl that played the young Charlotte did an amazing job. I feel like you can tell she watched seasons 1 and 2 of Bridgerton and studied down, y'all. She had the Queen's mannerisms impact. She had her cadence. Everything was dope. At the bottom, we have Lady Danbury and then the young lady that plays the young Lady Danbury, Lady Agatha. And again, she completely embodied Agatha's poise, the air she had about herself, by still showing that she's trying to put on this front as if she's hard and nothing bothers her, but you can still see those cracks behind her. So the main characters we have Adolphus, who is Queen Charlotte's older brother, who is the king in Germany. At the bottom there, we have Princess Augustus, who is the king's mother, who, that lady ran me thin. Talk about somebody getting on your nerves. So then we have the king in the queen's hand. So we have Reynolds, who is the taller gentleman, who worked for the king. And then we have Brimsley, who we see works for the queen. And we have seen him working for the queen all throughout Bridgerton. Who I forgot to get a picture of is Monroe, who is the doctor, who we're going to talk about that because that was a mess. So, the story starts off with Queen Charlotte she's 17. So we see Queen Charlotte as she's of age, and she's overhearing her brother making an agreement, signing a contract, basically trading her off to the British, right? So she finds out that she's going to marry the king. So the carriage ride there, she's not pleased. She's not with it because Charlotte is very intelligent. She's smart. So she's wondering, why are they coming way over here to Germany to get me all them girls that's in London? All those young, eligible girls that are over there, why are they coming way over here? Something's up. Something's wrong. Something ain't right with this. And we come to find out, her intuition, her first thoughts were correct. So in the car, Adolphus is like, getting a little pissy, if you ask me, because he's like, oh, well, you don't want to go. No, she don't want to go. And I get it. Charlotte understands this is what she has to do. This is how their life works. Adolphus realizes this is what he has to do because their parents have passed on. He is in charge. He has to do this for his sister. But it's also like, don't make it seem as if you about to go marry the king. Who don't want to marry the king? She don't. Like, the way, I hated his conversation. And I get that, he's doing what he had to do. But it's also like, look, you got to use a little bit of the common sense that you got. She's not going to be pleased. She's not going to be. So she gets there. They looking her up and down. Princess Augusta being like she was. And she's like, let me see your teeth and whatever. All this stuff. And she's like, I guess this to do. So Charlotte is like, okay, bet. So I got my dress. It came from Paris. We all good to go. She was like, nah. Y'all got too many frills and thrills. We want a nice, simple, elegant gown. I said, oh, girl. Now, she done went to Paris, got this dress made. Y'all are forcing her to marry this man she ain't never seen. The least y'all can do is let her wear her own dress. But whatever. So, Lord Bute, who wasn't going to get a picture of him because he got on my damn nerves too. He is down the Princess Augusta's neck about, she a little browner than we thought. We know y'all went and got a colored is basically what he was saying. We thought y'all went and got, a white German. Y'all done came back with a little brown one. So they're already kind of about that. Princess Augustus is like, look, we just got to get some people that look like her in her court. That's it. That's all. We got to go and get some people that look like her. So we cue over to Lady Danbury. Now, she is married to this man, and I don't want to call this man ugly, but he's not a looker, okay? He's not a looker, but she is married to him. The reason that he got the little money that he has is because he used to be homeboys with the king or worked for the king or something like that. He has ties to the king. So we see her getting basically assaulted every time that they have marital relations, every time they consummate, every time they do the sex. But I know a lot of people were complaining about that. They feel that Shonda Rhimes is doing this with the black characters and whatever the case. That is how life was at that time. It is. Do I think that Shonda Rhimes hate black people? No, I don't. But that is just what was going on at that time. Did we get a lot of those scenes? We did. But at the same time, that is just that was their way of life, right? I think that a lot of the sex scenes were unnecessary. With the Danburys, I will say that for sure. So, the relationship that Lady Danbury has with her husband is basically, I'm just here because my family had a little bit of money. Your family had a little bit of money. That's what's going on here. She confides in Coral, who is her maid a lot, and they get this note, and she's been invited to the royal wedding. So she's like, oh, why are we going to the wedding? Like, I don't really quite understand this. But they get there and she sees Charlotte up at the top because Charlotte done ran away because she's asking everybody, well, what's he like? What does he look like? So in her mind, because nobody is responding, because the king I don't want to call him weird. He has something wrong with him. They don't quite say it. I don't know if it's giving autism. I don't know if it's bipolarism. I don't know what it is, but they call him mad, which is what they used to call people back in the day, right? So she sees Charlotte up at the top, and she was like, oh, it's the little brown girl. Boom. That's why we're invited here. That's why we then all of a sudden got these titles. Now we're Lord and Lady Danbury instead of just being, the Danburys from up the street. So you can see the wheels turning, right? You see the wheels turning in Lady Danbury's head that I gotta befriend her because I want to keep this status. You know what I mean? So the queen, and we get this first look scene here that's on the screen where Charlotte is outside. She trying to hop over the damn wall because she said, I don't know what this is, but it ain't what it's going to be with me. She ends up seeing this guy and he's like, I'm not going to help the person that's trying to run away from me. So they have a connection. He tells her, look, I don't even worry about all that other type of stuff. I like science. I don't eat fish. I got a scar here. I got a scar here. Like, I'm just George, That's what I do. So they have this connection there where you can see that for them both, it was love at first sight. So they decide we're going to do this stuff, this together. They go in. They get married. It's a beautiful ceremony. Everybody is kind of like, got a little brownie, got a little raisin walking up in here. That's what everybody is looking at, but at the same time, it is what it is. So as they are leaving, he takes her back to Buckingham House, and he tells her, "This is your house. This what it's gonna be." And she's like, "Oh, so you're not coming in?" And he was like, "No, I live at Q." I said, "You live at Q?" So my mind, I was like, is the king gay? I thought he was gay, and they were trying to hide this by just, quickly marrying him off in that manner. But that's not the case. So they get into like a little argument, right, where she was like, ain't we supposed to basically ain't we supposed to fuck tonight? That's what marriage that's what marriage is. It's our night. And he was like, nope, I'm your king, I command you. He get real brolic in the chest, and she was like, oh shit, my bad, I thought you was George, but if you want to be your majesty, your highness, then I said, see, and you can see he immediately softens up because he's like, damn, I messed up. So he goes on back to Q, which is where he wants to be. And we see the queen going through all these different days where she's eating by herself, getting dressed up, having to do all these typical rituals, and she is not seeing George. So finally she was like, you know what, settle up the carriage, y'all. Settle it on up. We about to go see my husband. She goes to see him. He has this humongous telescope, and he's trying to see Venus. He said he was real into science. So she's looking around. She said, you been staying in the observatory? Because he has a bed. It's stuff all over. It's plates and food. So they get into it, and she's like, so you would rather sit here and look up at this damn planet than actually come home with me, your wife. And he's like, basically, shit. So the two hands, Reynolds and Brimsley, they go back and forth where Brimsley is like, what's the deal? What's tea? Why hasn't he been over here at the house with her? The least he can do was send her a gesture. He sends her a dog. She said, this is not a dog. Dogs are big. They shepherds, Danes. I don't know what this is. This is a deformed bunny. I don't even want that. So eventually the king shows up and it's like, hey, let's have some dinner. And she was like, the fuck? No, you fucking lying. Cause like, what you not gonna do is just show up like ain't nothing been going on. You show up here like we just about to have dinner, and I'm supposed to be okay with the fact that I haven't seen your ass since we got married. And the way you been yelling at me, boy, bye. So he's like, let me just show you what I've been working on. Let me just show you. Let me show you. So they go and he takes her back to the observatory and he tells her, I told you I like science, right? Remember I told you I like science? So he's showing her that he likes science and he's showing her Venus. They have a moment there. They come on back to the house because he's like, I'm going to come home. They come on back to the house. They consummate, and it seems like in Charlotte's eyes, life is going to be great, right? She wakes up the next morning, and when she wakes up the next morning, she overhears him talking to his mother, and he's like, look, I done did what you told me to do. I got a wife. I slept with her. I bedded her. I didn't tell her anything about myself. I'm protecting the crown. I am living for, what did he say? Living for the... It was like living for the good and the misery of the land. I did what I was supposed to do. So Charlotte is overhearing this and she's on some damn, so you really just, you didn't mean anything that you did. In her eyes, she's looking at it as you really just kind of used me and did what you felt like you had to do because that's what your mom told you to do. And I was like, damn. I feel bad for her. I really did. So now she has an attitude with him and you see them drifting far apart. He sees that she has an attitude. So in his mind, he's like, well, she don't fuck with me anyways. So he goes on back to Q. He likes to be at the observatory. So we then see Lady Danbury. Lord Danbury dies while he's fucking her. What would end up happening with them is, you know, now that they have these titles, he thought that he was going to be able to go to like the white strip club and go hunting and do all this stuff with the elite and with the time. And they was like, nigga, nah, you got this just on title because we got a little darky in the palace. That is really all what happened. Excuse my French, but like that's basically what it was. So she has been meeting with the queen who is trying to get some dirt. So it was one night during like the honeymoon, one day during the honeymoon, when Queen Charlotte invites Lady Danbury to come kick it with her for a minute, right? So after the wedding, you know, you do like the little processional line. Lady Danbury was like, I'm in your court now. You know, you call on me, I'ma come. So she took her up on that offer. She's like, is this how like married life is? Like, ain't we supposed to be doing whatever? So they formed this bond. The Princess Augustus. I feel like she should have been an Agatha, to be real. Princess Augustus, she finds out that Lady Danbury has been over kicking it with Charlotte. So she's like, all right, I'm going to use her to get some dirt because she is not trusting that George has consummated this marriage. She got Lord Bute in Parliament breathing down her neck. And I'm like, are they going to tell us why they acting like George is gay and like he's not going to consummate? Because even at some parts, I felt like, I was like, is he sleeping with his hand? Is he messing with Reynolds? I was so confused. Me and Brimsey was like, what is the deal? So Lady Danbury starts blackmailing, basically, and using Princess Augusta for the come up. So she's like, you know, you gave us these titles. Should there not be more? And she's like, you want money? We want status. We want wealth. So they get this huge house. She ends up, you know, finessing her way into throwing one of the first balls, all because Princess Augustus is trying to figure out, is there an heir that is going to come? So after, what happened? It was something, there was a moment where George and Was it after the ball? No. There was a moment where George and Charlotte, they have a little connection and they end up spending the night together because they started sleeping together every even day. And then it finally becomes, look, I like you, you like me. This is what it was. She finds out that the day of the coronation that he was meeting down with the doctor because we see him like collapse a little bit because he got this tremor. So then I was like, does he have Parkinson's? Like, I felt it was getting on my nerves that we did not know what was wrong with him. So they have this back and forth argument, whatever the case, and then it comes out to be like, look, you like me, I like you. If you don't want me around, because she rolls up on him at Q again, and she's like, look, if you want me to leave, I'll leave. But if you tell me you don't love me, and that's fine, I'll take it on back to the house. I'll pop out this little big-headed bastard kids for y'all, and then, well, not bastard, but I'll pop out this little big-headed kids for y'all, and then I don't got to see you till it's time for us to produce more air. They like each other. They love each other. So they take it on back to the house, right? He comes back. I said, King, what you're not going to do is keep moving in and out. Either you're going to be at Q or you're going to be here at Buckingham. But what we not going to do is you keep, like, they didn't have, like, the way that they can just pack up luggage and shit the way that we can. We got stuff all on the carriage and stuff because you can't figure out where you want to be. Sick of it. So they sleep together this night. She wakes up and he is going full-blown mad scientist over on the wall and he's sketching out. And I was like, oh, he's just really into science. So then he's like rambling about Venus. So then she's like, what the hell is going on? So he takes off. He goes outside. He gets in the garden. He strips down butt naked. He's pointing at the sky saying, Venus, my love. And Charlotte is like, the fuck is going on? So Reynolds comes running out and, chasing after him too. Reynolds can't get him to calm down, but Charlotte is able to by telling him she is Venus. She gets him in the house. They wiping him down because he was in the dirt and shit. She is like, what the fuck was that? What is going on here? So we get the best episode of this season. Is when we do they backtrack and we basically see the first, I want to say this was episode 4, either episode 4 or 5. And we see everything that we had seen already from the king's eyes. So basically, like I said, I don't know if it's like autism or he's on the spectrum, but there's something going on with him and everybody knows, but he has these moments where he just like slips out of himself and he says that it's the heavens that are watching. So he gets into this like trance where he's like non-functional, basically non-verbal, non-functional. He's just very fixated on something. So there's a point in the beginning and we see how the princess was like, look, we done got you married off to somebody. They're coming. We see that he has been, these doctors have been doing all these like wild different things, burning his legs and, whipping his arms, trying to like pull, they think it's like a physical ailment. So there is a psychiatrist, because I don't know if I believe he a real doctor, but there was this like psychiatrist, Monroe, that said that, he works with this type of stuff, but he uses very unconventional things. So in his mind, he needs to beat the king and torture him into submission. So then that way he feels like he doesn't have control and he'll take control of his body. I said, if this ain't the dumbest shit, y'all, he is waterboarding this man in ice cold water. He has leeches biting him. He's whipping him. He's beating him. He's burning him with coals, all because he is trying to, I guess, get him into a submissive state. I said, if this ain't the dumbest shit ever, Lord, like, that was so tripped out to me. And the crazy part is, I am certain that this is something that has happened before. You know what I mean? That's probably what they did back in the day. So he like is away from, to all these times where Charlotte is wondering where he is. He's down in the fucking basement getting tied up to this chair where he's being tortured. Reynolds knew what was going on. You can tell Reynolds felt bad, but Reynolds was like, I have an allegiance to the king, so I'm not going to, rock the boat. I have to, I'm sworn in doing this. While this is going on, Parliament is like, look, we ain't seen this man. We need to act, because we need to go ahead and put somebody else and give somebody else the crown, because we know your son is crazy. That's what they're thinking. We know it's something off with him. They call him Mad George. We need to figure out what's tea so we know how to act accordingly. Lady Danbury, her husband done died. I said, Lord. So her husband has passed away in the midst of backshots. So he's passed away. So now she is worried about if she is going to get to keep her title or not. Now she does have a son, but he's 4. So she's wondering, like, okay, do I get to keep my title? What's going to happen? She wasn't even thinking about it until all the other black people rolled up in her house and was like, girl, bruh, what are we, like, what's going to happen? So we get this moment where, hold on, I think I missed something. Let me rewind back a little bit. Before Lord Danbury dies, Lady Danbury finessed her way into throwing this ball. During the ball, the way that they are able to get Parliament to fall back, right? And for him to start acting like a king is for him to make some appearances. So he shows up at the Danbury's ball, and that's when they really become inclined like to the elite. So it was like later that night that Danbury was like excited, and that's when he was doing the back shots on his wife, and that's when he passes away. So while the queen is trying to figure out what's going on with George, why he's never around, because like she's pregnant now, so she's like, we got, like, it would be nice if he was around at least a little bit. So while this is going on, damn, I just lost my train of thought that quick. Hold on, y'all, I didn't take notes. Okay, so while this is all going on, Lady Danbury is still trying to blackmail Princess Augustus, who feels that the queen is keeping her son away from her. So it's just, everything is a mess. The one time that I did like Princess Augustus, okay, is Lady Danbury's there, and she's talking about how she wants her son to have the title. That's right. This is succession. And she breaks down and she starts crying because she about to be broke, penniless, everything. Because when she met with the solicitor for her husband's estate, come to find out, he really wasn't as rich as she thought. He was using a lot of his money trying to keep up with the Joneses. So she breaks down, and the princess was like, nope, that's what we not going to do. No, don't let nobody see you cry. Don't ever don't ever let people see your weakness. So what you gonna do, because you have been a worthy opponent, we gonna sip on this pot liquor. You gonna suck it up. You gonna get it together. You're going to tell me what it is you want. You're gonna make a deal the same way you have been making deals before. And I think in that moment, Lady Danbury was like, I am that bitch. You know what I mean? What you gonna do is, if you want me to keep giving you tea on what's going on with the queen, because that's my homegirl now, you are gonna have to, make sure that I keep my money, my wealth, my status, my everything. I thought that was an amazing, amazing, amazing scene between the two of them. So, back with George and them. So, it gets to a point where the queen is like, look, she takes her ass back on the queue. I got so sick of them going between queue. Like, how long was that carriage ride? You know what I mean? Because it ain't like he was just down the street. You know what I mean? How long was the carriage ride? That's what I would like to know. She gets back over there. She's demanding to see her husband. They like, no. he's busy. Monroe, the damn doctor, was like, he's not accepting visitors. This is the fucking queen. So she was like, I'm gonna go see him. They go downstairs. I be damned if he is like tied up and they burning his legs. So she flip out like, what the same way anybody would have been. So she demands that he gets untied and everything. She done fired the damn doctor. And she's like, he don't need all this. Y'all are big tripping. So it gets back to Princess Augustus, who was like, she can't fire him. That ain't what she do. The king would never do that. So now she feels a way that that Queen Charlotte is not doing what she wants her to do. Princess Augustus, with all due respect, my sis, you are not in charge. You don't run nothing over here. You don't run anything. So what you really need to do is just kind of fall back. Okay? I need you to fall back. Fall back, sis, and let the queen do what she needs to do, because you've never had your son's best interest at heart. Never. You too busy worrying about Lord Bute, okay? Who is Lord Bute? Why? Maybe that's what I missed in season 2. Like, is he really that dude? Like, I got so sick of hearing his name. So Princess Augustus rolls up on the queen. She comes over to Buckingham Palace. And she's like, look, this falls on you. He has to act like a king. Now, you don't stop this treatment. You can't hide him away. So if anything happens, y'all lose everything. We lose everything. It's going to fall on you. So Charlotte is like, all right, so boom. We just going to throw a party, okay? We'll have a party. So he's supposed to address Parliament. He can't do it. He's up in the damn carriage. He starts having one of his episodes. He can't get out the carriage. I said, y'all couldn't, throw a little water on his face and make it seem like he just threw up or something. Like, Reynolds, you got to act on your feet. So they decide to have this ball instead. And at the ball, he has to come out, address everybody, and then we're going to see if that helps them kind of fall back. Because she's very obviously and clearly pregnant, so that should work. So towards the end, we see that George is really only good when he is with Charlotte. She's able to calm him down. They don't have the treatments anymore with the doctor. It's kind of like her being around him is able to calm him down. So when they do have the ball and it's a good showing, and it's like everybody can see how happy he is, how good he is with Charlotte. It shows that he might be okay long enough until this heir comes out to replace him. Or we see that Charlotte has what it takes to really do this damn thing, and she can really run. So at this party here, and I know I skipped a bunch of stuff, y'all. It's hard to recap 6 episodes in 45 minutes. But at the end, we see at this ball where Charlotte rolls up on Lady Danbury and was like, look, why didn't you come to me when you wanted to know about your title and all that stuff? Or do you think I can't do it? Because let's not forget, when the queen ran away, she ran to you. So, clearly, she considers y'all ace boons. So, the fact that I was with the queen, too. Why you ain't just come talk to me about it? I have you over here all the time. I'm telling you, my deep secrets and all this other type of stuff. And you not even really rocking with me that way. So, she's like, basically, you gonna keep your title. I got you. And that's how they become aces. So at the very end, when Queen Charlotte in present day finds out that one of her sons that she married off does have a baby on the way, they think it's gonna be a girl, and she's like, you know what, fine, we can have a queen lead. She goes, and we see that we see that George is still doing what he do on the wall, and she gets under the bed and they lay on the floor like they did. Damn, I should have got that screenshot because I do have it. But they lay on the bed on the floor, and she's like, under here, the heavens can't see you. You're just George, okay? I'm just Charlotte. And it seems that whenever he is just laying down with her, he relaxes more, and he is definitely himself. It shows a true love story. They truly, truly love each other. Charlotte truly loves George, right? She didn't step away from him. She didn't lock him in the room. She was never scared of him once she found out what it was. So, hop in the comment section down below. What did y'all think about it? I would love to get a season 2. I would love to see more about before I forget, Lady Danbury. After her husband dies, she started messing around with Lord Lettler. Hold on, I got his name right here. It is Lord Ledger. So she starts messing around with Lord Ledger, who has been, kind of eyeing her since they had that ball at her house. So they would take these like little walks, and I guess their properties were like butt up right on the line with each other. So they end up sleeping together, and he made her this hat, y'all. Okay. When Lord Ledger was making her that hat, I was like, surely he's just doing some arts and crafts with his daughter. But he was like, I make birthday hats for everybody. I said, oh yeah? Okay. So he gives her this birthday hat, and they sleep together, and she, you can tell she loved that man. She loved Lord Ledger. So when Queen Charlotte's brother, because her brother was there for the birth of the baby and all the other kind of stuff, he was there, and he proposed to her, or basically, asked her to come back to Germany with him. She was like, I can't do it, because she felt that she was always living for some other man. She wants to live by herself. I honestly think it's because deep down she wanted to be with Lord Ledger. That's what I think. That's what I think about that. I feel like that's it. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff, but hop in the comment section down below, y'all. If I missed anything, let's talk about it. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.